So this is a review from somebody who doesn't know anything about cameras. Before we begin, you might be wondering, why am I in this weird position where I'm lying down on the floor? There's no reason. I really want you to be able to see and check out the camera as I'm talking about it, so I had an idea. Before we begin, I want to film this with just a camera, no mic, no anything. I mean, technically I have a tripod attached to it, but that's it. I want you to hear the audio as I'm speaking because this is the audio that you get just from the camera. This image is what you get just from the camera. I have a 10 to 18 millimeter lens on it, but that's it. A little bit about me. I am not a photographer. I don't know anything about video, and I have no experience in either field. I'm learning. This is the first camera that I ever bought, and this is the only camera that I've ever owned. The first thing that I noticed when I started to use this was the build of it. It is a beautiful camera. It feels good to hold. It's solid. It works wonderfully, and there's tons of accessories that you can mount on it if you want to mount just to the camera itself, or if you have like a rig like this. This is a small cage rig, which I love. And this, when I'm traveling, I pretty much bring this, and I bring this microphone right here. This is a Rode mic. 90% of the time that I use this, I have it on automatic. Again, I'm not coming from a background of photography or video, and I need something that works well without me being an expert and manually adjusting things. I don't want to have to know how to focus or set the aperture or set the shutter speed, or set all the amazing things that you can do with this camera. I don't want to have to know that to be able to take a good photo or to be able to take a video when I want to. And this camera works wonderfully on automatic, and it also has all the options and levers and everything you could ever possibly want in order to fine-tune your shots. Right now, I'm slowly learning how to do all those things, learning how to, frame a photo and set all the settings and, change my depth of field and do all those things. But when I first bought this camera, I didn't know how to do any of that. And it's not that I didn't want to learn, it's just that I didn't want to be held back by my ignorance, my profound ignorance, which is, my ignorance really is profound in this field. And this camera was perfect for me, and it still is perfect for me. I absolutely love it. I've had it for a year. I travel with it. It is extremely lightweight. Depending on what lens you attach to it, you can get, this is a pretty big lens. It's not huge. There's much bigger lenses, but there's much smaller lenses than this that you can mount onto this camera and carry it around. It's super light. The batteries last very long time. The image quality is phenomenal. For me, I've only had experience taking photographs with my phone, and as you guys know, a few years ago, taking photographs with your phone was not too great. Now it's slowly getting better, but this beats any camera on a cell phone in the market, in my opinion. I remember when I could first shoot 4K video on my phone, I was so excited. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to shoot 4K. And I would shoot it, and it would be like, it's technically 4K resolution, technically, but just barely. The image processor was no good. And just because it was capturing 4K, it didn't have the processing power to really capture the colors, really capture everything that's going on, the light, and the image looked very poor. The 4K video on this is phenomenal. I shoot pretty much everything that I shoot with this camera in 4K, even though it takes so much room. But it really does make a difference. If you got, believe me, even if you don't know what you're doing with a camera, when you shoot in 4K, just everything looks better. You can go on my channel and check out my older videos. Most of them are shot with 4K. The ones that I'm shooting, most of them are shot with 4K on this camera. So check those out. And make sure you watch them in 4K, but you really do need a 4K monitor to see the difference. I mean, technically, if you're watching it on a 1080 monitor, it'll be sort of like upscaled and then downscaled to your monitor, which will make it slightly look better. But when you have a 4K monitor like I do on my laptop, and you're able to see the 4K video of this, it's phenomenal. It's better than real life. I mean, well, I don't know if it's better than real life. It might be. I don't know how many pixels my eyes can see. I don't see in pixels, but I think it's pretty good. So to summarize, the photos are amazing. The video is phenomenal. The question is, should you be buying this camera in late 2018, which is where we are right now? I would say it's a pretty good purchase. If you are not a professional photographer, if you want to get into photography, or you want to shoot high quality video, maybe you're a vlogger, maybe you just, you want to capture your family events in really high quality, this is the camera to get. I would say it's a sort of like, I don't know what, it's hard to judge the range of cameras. There's cameras that are extremely cheap, and then there's cameras that are like $40,000. So it's hard for me to say where this is, but you can look at all the prices. The links are in the description of this video. You can check out all the gear that I'm using, see what's right for you. For me, this was my first camera. I'm extremely happy that I invested in it. But again, is it worth it in late 2018? Right now, they're saying that the rumor is that Sony is going to announce the new camera in this series. It's reportedly going to be titled the Sony A6700 or the Sony A7000, which should be, better than this camera, and that's supposed to be coming out later this year. Reportedly, it's a rumor. If you were thinking about this camera and you haven't bought it yet, I would maybe wait a month, 2 months, 3 months until the next camera comes out, because it would be in the same price range as this camera, but be improved, because that's what Sony does. It just improve everything all the time. But if you want a camera right now and you look at your budget and this camera is in your price range, I would absolutely recommend it. I love it. I love having it as a camera. I rate it 10 out of 10. I absolutely love it. I've never had any problem with it. Not a single technical error. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen and it hasn't happened to other people, but I've done a lot of research and this seems like a very solid camera, and a lot of people are impressed by it. Again, I wish I could sit here for hours and tell you about all the technical aspects. I'm not the right person to tell you those things, but if you do look online, if you do look on YouTube, there's a lot of people who know much more than me and can describe everything to you in detail. But for me, this was a right buy. I really hope you guys enjoyed this little review, and if you did, like the video. If you want to subscribe. I usually don't do tech reviews. I'm a magician, but I just thought I should say something about this camera since I use it all the time, and I've become quite attached to it. I mean, this camera has been with me literally all around the world, and somehow it's still alive, which I can't say about everyone.